I was 14 the first time I heard a heartbeat. Not mine. My mother's. She had this little metal stethoscope in a wooden box. I don't even remember where she got it. But one evening, she sat me down, took my hand, and placed it on her chest. "Listen," she whispered. What I heard. It was not just a beat. It was a story. A soft knock, steady, like a visitor returning home. A whisper from deep inside the body, saying, "I'm still here. I'm still fighting." That night changed everything for me. It made me realize how fragile, and how fierce, the human heart can be. Especially as we age. Especially when we stop listening. I'm 76 now. And if there's one thing I've learned from age, it's this. We talk too much, and listen too little. Especially, to our bodies. Especially, to our hearts. You see, there's a woman you've probably never heard of. Helen Taussig. She couldn't hear her heartbeat. She was nearly deaf. But she changed the way the entire world understands the heart. She taught doctors how to listen better. She saved babies whose hearts didn't work right. She warned the world about early heart disease symptoms and the silent stroke warning signs we older folks often ignore. If you're over 60, if your doctor has ever mentioned high blood pressure in the elderly, if you've ever worried about your chest tightening, if you've ever lain awake at 3 a.m. wondering whether that thump in your chest is just anxiety or something more, then they are part of her story. And she is part of yours. I owe Helen my life. I had no idea what a heart murmur in the elderly sounded like, until a nurse mentioned her name. I used to think caring for your heart meant cutting back on salt, walking every morning, or switching to Medicare Advantage plans. But now I know, the real care starts with listening. Listening. So if you've never heard of Helen Taussig before, please, stay with me. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share her story, and mine. Because through her silence, she taught the world how to listen. And through her life, she may just save yours. I wasn't always this careful with my heart. In fact, for most of my 60s, I thought I was invincible. I ate whatever I wanted, bacon in the morning, a glass of wine at night. I walked a little, but not enough. I ignored the signs, the tightness in my chest when climbing stairs. The strange flutter when I lay down. I thought, it's just old age. I even laughed when my daughter said, "Dad, maybe you should get that checked out." It wasn't until one morning. I collapsed in the garage. Just like that. No warning. No pain. One moment, I was holding a rake. The next, I was on the ground. That day, I was diagnosed with atrial fibrillation. The doctor said it had been silently damaging my heart for years. I was shocked. Embarrassed. I felt stupid, honestly. That's when I met Dr. Karen Lynn, a cardiologist with the patience of a saint. She didn't scold me. She listened. Then she pulled out a pen and sketched something on her notepad. A simple curve. "This," she said, "is your rhythm. This was you 5 years ago." Then she showed me the new curve. Flat. Uneven. "This is you now." She explained that early symptoms of don't cause pain heart disease often don't hurt. They whisper. She discussed high blood pressure in the elderly and how most men tend to ignore it. She told me how stroke warning signs come not as thunder, but as shadows. Before I continue, I want you to do something for me. Right now, place 2 fingers on your wrist. Can you feel it? That soft thump? If it feels too fast, too slow, or skips a beat, stay with me till the end. I'll show you the same PDF my doctor gave me, a simple way to monitor your heart at home. For the first time in my life, I listened. I followed her plan. Walk 20 minutes every morning. Switch to the DASH diet. Monitor my pulse daily using a chart she gave me, which I'll share with you at the end of this video. Within 6 months, my rhythm stabilized. I felt alive again. So if you're watching this and thinking, that won't happen to me, let me tell you, I was you. And that rake I dropped in my garage, I keep it hanging on the wall now, as a reminder to listen, before it's too late. I didn't learn about Helen Taussig in school. Not in high school. Not in college. Not even when I had my first heart scare. Funny, isn't it? That a woman who saved millions of lives could be a complete mystery to someone like me. Until one day, in Dr. Lin's office, I noticed her name on a framed article. Pioneer of Pediatric Cardiology, it read. I asked. Dr. Lin smiled. Harold, she said. If it weren't for Helen Taussig, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation. And then she told me the story. Helen was born in 1898. Grew up nearly deaf. Lost her mother as a child. At that time, women weren't allowed in most medical schools. But she fought her way into Johns Hopkins by sheer will. She noticed something no one else did. That babies with blue skin, later called blue baby syndrome, had malformed hearts. She couldn't hear their murmurs. But she could feel them. With surgeon Alfred Blaylock, she created a technique that gave these babies a second chance at life. That was just the beginning. Later, she warned the world about thalidomide, a drug harming unborn children. She helped establish the American Heart Association's early education for preventive cardiology. And yet, she never raised her voice. Never shouted. She simply listened. And changed the world by doing so. Before I go on, I want you to picture this. A deaf woman. In a quiet hospital hallway. Holding a newborn. One hand on the baby's chest. The other, writing down patterns in silence. What she discovered in that moment still saves lives today. If you've ever wondered, could I detect a heart issue before it becomes serious? Stay with me. At the end of this video, I'll show you a simple legacy chart inspired by her methods. The same one I use every morning. After learning about Helen, I dug deeper. Dr. Lin showed me how Helen's notes led to what we now call the gold standard of early diagnosis. According to the 2023 AHA guidelines, regular rhythm monitoring, especially in seniors with atrial fibrillation or high blood pressure, reduces stroke risk by up to 32%. That's not a small number. That's your life. And you don't need fancy tools. Helen used her fingers. Today, we can use a cheap stethoscope and a free PDF chart, I'll link it below. All because one woman refused to stop listening. There was a time I believed growing old meant becoming invisible. Your kids stop calling as much. The neighbors wave less. Your doctor appointments become more frequent, but somehow, less meaningful. But the part one never expected. It was how quiet my own body became. No screams. No red flags. Just silence. Until it wasn't. That day in the garage, I told you before, it changed everything. But what I didn't tell you was what came after. I didn't bounce back right away. I was scared. I was ashamed. I started Googling things like, best hearing aid for the elderly, thinking maybe I missed the warning signs because I was going deaf. I even looked up life insurance for seniors over 80, as if that would fix anything. It wasn't until Dr. Lin sat me down, gently but firmly, and said, Harold, your heart isn't broken. It's just been unheard. That sentence rewired something in me. She explained how the heart sends out tiny distress signals, such as high blood pressure in the elderly, atrial fibrillation, or tiny skips in rhythm, months or even years before a serious event. Most people over 60 think a stroke feels like a lightning bolt. But according to the AHA 2023 report, more than 68% of elderly strokes begin with microsymptoms. A sudden drop in focus. Unsteady walking. Tingling in the arm. Or even, forgetting the name of your grandson for a few seconds. Things we brush off. I did. And so, Dr. Lin gave me two things. One, a small PDF chart. She called it the legacy log to track daily rhythm and symptoms. Two, a challenge. Harold, I want you to act like your heart is a 6-year-old grandchild. Don't just listen once a year. Listen every day. And I did. I taped that PDF next to my bathroom mirror. Every morning, pulse check. Every night, one line about my energy. After 2 weeks, I noticed something. My mind was sharper. My breath was deeper. I no longer feared the silence, because I was actively listening. And now, I want to challenge you. I don't care if you're 60 or 90. You have a heart. And that heart still has stories left to tell. So here's my challenge. For the next 7 days, do what I did. Print the legacy log, link below. Place 2 fingers on your wrist each morning. Count. Write 1 word about how your heart feels. Don't overthink it. Don't judge yourself. Just listen. After 7 days, if you feel more in tune, join our group. We share notes, wins, worries. You don't need a doctor to start. You just need you. You know, there was a time I thought this was it. Retirement. Slower mornings. Pills are lined up in a tray. Visits from my kids every other Sunday. I thought life had peaked. That the best stories were behind me. But I was wrong. Because the most important story I ever told is this one. The story of learning to listen to this stubborn old heart of mine. And you know what I realized? Your heart is not just a muscle. It's a journal. Every skipped beat, a memory. Every tightness, a whisper. Every strong pulse, a victory. When I started tracking my rhythms on that legacy log, it wasn't about being perfect. It was about being present. That 30 seconds each morning, it became a sacred moment. Not just for health, but for gratitude. I'd sit with my coffee, feel the beat, and quietly say, "Thank you. You're still here." Because for a long time, I didn't think it would be. I remember one night. I was staring at the ceiling, thinking about all the people I never said goodbye to. All the things I'd forgotten to do. I felt small. Useless. But then I heard it. That soft thump in my chest. Not loud. Not strong. Just steady. And in that moment, I knew. If my heart were still showing up, so should I. I've read stories of Helen Taussig dozens of times now. A woman who couldn't hear, yet taught the world how to listen. I think of her every time I check my pulse. Not as a doctor. Not as a scientist. But as a teacher of stillness. Of presence. Of purpose. And now, I want to give you that same gift. I'm not asking for your email. I'm not selling you supplements. I'm just inviting you home. So here's my final whisper to you. Click the link below and download the Legacy Heart Log. Pin it by your mirror. Take 1 minute every morning, just one. And if you want, join our quiet little group, Living Strong with Harold. We don't preach. We don't post selfies. We just show up. Each day. With a pen, a beat, and a little hope. You've made it this far. That means something. And I promise. There's still more to life. More to learn. More to love. I'll be waiting on the porch. Come sit with me.